Hello, and welcome to the Argyle HR Leadership Forum, Trends, Tech, and Talent. My name is Vicki Lynn Brunskill with Argyle. It's great to have everyone joining us today. I have some important information to share with you, and then we will turn the floor over to our esteemed opening keynote speaker. First, we'd like to take a moment to thank today's sponsors, GP and Checker. Our sponsors are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience today, and at any time, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page, which those do include complimentary materials, information, and meet and greet opportunities. Thank you again, GP and Checker. We also welcome you to stay socially connected during today's event. For those of you who are active on social media, please use the hashtag Argyle Digital and follow us on Twitter, X, at Argyle Exec Forum. Also, be sure to follow Argyle on LinkedIn for special announcements. And now I just want to take a moment to touch on our content neutrality policy, which we've curated based on the feedback we've received over the years from our members. We've worked closely with our speaking faculty to ensure that we receive balanced and neutral viewpoints today during all the sessions, and we appreciate our members' support of this policy. Finally, and most importantly, we want to hear from you. So during each session, we encourage you to submit your questions and comments in the Q&A box on your screen. Following each presentation, we've set aside time for our speakers to weigh in on those questions. Thank you all again for joining us today, and now let's get started. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Elisa Bannon-Jones, Chief People Officer at GNC. We are so excited to have Elisa with us for her opening keynote presentation titled Retain, Engage, Grow, Cultivating a Health, Wellness First Workplace. Welcome, Elisa, and over to you.
Yes, good morning, everybody. It is great greetings from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where GNC is headquartered. And we're going to talk today a little bit about employee well-being and how we at GNC are working towards building a culture of belonging. A little bit about GNC. We have been in business since 1935. And we are actually, our corporate headquarters, which we moved in 2022, is right down the street from our original store. And that was where we had David Shakarian, who was very, very creative and innovative back in the 1930s. And he did some breakthrough solutions. I'm going to share a little video with you all so you can learn a little bit about GNC and our history. If I can get over to the video here, it's giving me a hard time. And just a little bit so you can learn a little bit about us. And then we can get into a little bit about some of the things that we've done at GNC to build a culture of belonging.
During the darkest days of the Great Depression, with America on its heels and plagued with uncertainty and desperation, David Shakarian dared to think different, followed his dreams, and opened a small health food store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He specialized in selling healthy foods like honey and whole grains, and introduced America to the health benefits of an exceptional new product called yogurt. As his vision grew, so did his business. One store became many, and his innovative thinking helped ignite the health food revolution of the 1960s with new, exotic, natural remedies. Shakarian's little health food store had grown into the largest health and nutrition chain on earth. And after nearly 80 years, GNC is still carrying on with David's vision of guiding mankind toward a better way of living. We're doing what we love, defying convention, following our dreams, and daring the world to live better.
So as we think about GNC and what our business is, and it's really all about wellness, you would think that we're the experts at how we can create well-being in the workforce. But you know what I can share with you all, I joined the organization in October of 2021, and it has been a journey because our primarily an omni-channel retailer, really a brick and mortar retailer, and along with probably many of you, engaging and attracting and retaining frontline employees has just been a crazy time. And I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the ways that we are creating well-being in the workplace with an eye on all of our employees and how we can create belonging. And you guys are going to notice a little bit of a trend with GNC because live well is our tagline. So we are very huge on wellisms. So you're going to see belong well, and you'll see a couple more that we've incorporated to keep our culture growing and sustaining and feeling like they're in a workplace of belonging. Very interesting because I did put the links in here so that you could really go through and read some of the research that we used when we were building out our program. And it was really about this social connection, meaning and purpose. We know that diversity, equity, inclusion have been in the workplace, and we've all been struggling and working hard to get to that place where we can say we are an inclusive and equitable and diverse workforce. And of course, we are diverse. All of us are diverse because diversity means so many things now from when I started working many, many decades ago. But the one thing that came out, and this is 2019, it's about belonging. And that people now, particularly, and remember, 2019, that's before the global pandemic. This has become so critical. But when people feel like they belong, they are more 3.5 times going to contribute and live their fullest potential. So belonging is key. And that research that I was able to pull as we were building out our programs in 2019 and post-pandemic, right? That is really much more truer now, even in 2019, because here it is almost 2024 and we're still dealing with the workforce and how are we going to bring them in and how are we going to get them to feel good? How are we going to get them to stay? And I don't know if any of you out here listening have frontline employees, but every day we struggle with our part-time workforce, our distribution workforce. Are they going to show up? Are they going to want to join? Are they going to stay? It's really been an interesting thing for us with workforce. And we know that based on research from Harvard Business Review, 40% of our employees don't feel like they belong. 40%. And as we go back to now Better Up's research, the managers are the ones who are responsible, or they hold the keys of the hearts and the minds of their employees in these topics of relationship building, social connections, recognition, empathy, alignment, and partnership. These are all really important things. But if our managers are the ones that are closest to it, it really is dependent on the skill and the ability and the beliefs of that manager to support their team members. And what we did find in this research as well is that underrepresented members of our organization, or any organization, if they feel psychologically safe, they perceive their organization 31% higher. They have a higher sense of connection to their teammates of 47%, and they're 25% higher rates of belonging. And the research also shows that if we are not mindful about belonging and meeting people where they are and making them feel good about being in the organization, 1 in 5 of our employees will quit simply because of that. Simply because of that. So pretty powerful research out there. And like I said, 2019, it's 2020, almost 2024, and we've gone through a pandemic since this research was starting to be written. Now, the Better Up research was 2021, so we weren't all the way out of feeling what happened with the pandemic, but we were still trying to navigate. And I would venture to say that we all are still trying to navigate from that. But so what, right? How do we make sense of this? How do we pull it all together to meet people where they're at? And I don't know about all of you, but here at GNC, we don't have endless budget and endless money. So we had to be really very creative on how we were pulling things together to create a sense of belonging for our team members. The first thing that I had to do when I got here in October of 2021 is look at how I was structured. How were we? You know, when I was hired, my predecessor was a chief human resources officer. The CEO said, no, it's got to be about people, Elisa. Let's make it about people. So one of the first things that I had to solve for very quickly is changing from administrative HR to people-oriented and people-supportive team. And one of those things that we started right away was really working through a centers of excellence concept and service delivery. So those were 2 key things, because talent is the toughest thing still that we do. Retention, attraction, development, management. But we are dependent on all of those other service delivery functions, which is our total rewards, our business partners, and our compensation. So really, how do you balance and blend? And that was one of the first things that I had to do, was level the playing field and show that centers of excellence and service delivery were both equally important in the organization to service our people. So we did some very clever things on how we were going to build this out. And again, we didn't have a lot of money, but the first thing we had to do was get the people structure support correct. The next thing that we had to do is we had to think about, well, what is the frames of the stories we're telling? Benefits aren't just benefits. Compensation isn't just compensation. You know, talent management and talent performance management, it's not just words. We have to be able to really tell the stories of what we're doing. And it's not about programs, it's about support. The key thing was we had to reframe our stories to all of our people, including our leaders, that we're here to support each other. And we had to think about how we could scale rewards across the entire organization, because we were really thinking about what was good for corporate, and we weren't thinking about what happens to our hourly people working the lines in our distribution centers, or the majority of our team, 80% of our retail frontline workers who had just gone through the most horrific times of the pandemic, but essential services had to be in stores. And we needed to get the technology to leverage one shared platform to communicate these messages. Every word matters. Every word matters. And then we also had the challenge that not everybody has access to PCs. So we had to make sure everything we did and all the ways we communicate with our team was mobile enhanced. Many frontline workers don't have PCs, and they use their smartphones as their main way of communicating and getting communication. So really kind of looking at the people, process, and technology, and then how do we want to tell the story of what we're doing? And I will tell you, it's been a 1-2 year, we're at the end of 2 years a process, but I'm going to give you a little insight as to what we did and how we did it. When you look at, your people function in HR, you kind of look at it in a traditional manner. These are the programs we have. We have benefits. We have talent management. But what we wanted to do as an organization and with the team was reframe, what does that look like and how do we do it? And here you guys go. Here's the well-isms. So we wanted to talk about emotional. We called that Belong Well. Financial, we called it Save Well. Professional development, we call it Evolve Well. And enhanced health benefits, we call it Feel Well. And you can kind of laundry list, right? So one of the first things that we do, once we sectioned off how we wanted to look at supporting our employees, then we actually laundry listed what did we have, what were we offering them, and where were the gaps. And we found several gaps. And the largest gap that we found was that we weren't making things equitable for our frontline and hourly associates as we were giving more of a balance to our corporate people. So I'm going to show you a little bit how we framed it and some of the cool things that we did to make sure we included all of our employees, because belonging is meeting everybody where they're at and ensuring there's something that could touch their hearts that would make them want to stay at GNC. So one of the ways that we did it too is we said, okay, we actually have to make this come to life. Every message that we do, everything that we say had to be about supporting. And as you can see, this website is going live this week. We really changed the words and the tone to talk about their journey, our commitment to their well-being. And we went very zen. And I'll tell you, we did this all internally. So when we talk about we didn't have a lot of budget, well, we work with some talented people that helped us bring this to life on our existing SharePoint platform. And then we work through our wellness pillars. I talked to that a little bit. So as we sectioned off Save Well, Evolve Well, Belong Well, and Feel Well, we worked into each one of those pillars, what those messages and those programs are, so that we could have very clear, concise, easy to use platforms for our people to access these pillars. And when we talk about Save Well, we had already gone through a 401k match with Safe Harbor, but we also have that available to our part-time and our full-time. And we made sure in our partnership with Fidelity that we were actually linking in why this is important to everybody. Because I will tell you, if you know people that are 20, 21, 22 working, and they don't see the value in saving $5 a pay period, we really wanted to show our people financially how they can save for the future, and it is important. You know, we did the things that a lot of companies do with pay equity validation, but we were very, very transparent, and we don't value our jobs against each other. We do it against the grade, and we level them out so that it's about the job. And we don't see gender issues. We pay for the job. We also added in a new program that's going to start in January. We partnered with an educational institute so that we could offer a fixed program for our employees, all our employees. Remember, a lot of retail, so a lot of them didn't go to college, that there's a fixed rate with tuition reimbursement for them to complete their bachelor's degrees for a sense of achievement. So that helps them to be able to grow and earn more. We introduced a paid parental leave program, and we made it so that it was for all eligible team members, corporate and field. And we made sure that we were giving a fair and equal playing field for all our employees to have that time when they had an addition to their family. Our annual performance appraisal process, we put it all up in the cloud with Cornerstone. We made it very transparent what those career rungs are and what good looks like at every level in the organization. So people know what's happening, and they know how they're being compensated. And we also partnered with PNC Bank, and we offer discounted financial services to them right from our platform, directly from GNC to PNC Bank. In Evolve Well, some of the highlights that we actually did is we have a partnership with the University Health and Performance, and that is really helping our employees who are veterans and veterans that are coming from their careers in the military, that they can directly go into this program, become certified coaches, and then join our organization. So that was really a big thing for us in being able to ensure that we are getting another group of people, military veterans, into the mix. Belong Well, you know, we also found a way with the Hartford to give an ability program to every single member here that provides all kinds of resources from, including counseling, financial, emotional help, and we made everything very transparent. Here's a little bit of something else that we started in 2022. We started presenting challenge coins to all our GNC veterans, featuring their stories. They self-identified, and we just did 240 coin celebrations last week for Veterans Day. And we also collect stories. So we're telling our people stories to everybody so that they feel included. Here's the University of Health and Performance and what we do with them. And we've been able to put through multiple people in our organization through the program, and we pay for it. And then we have a direct hiring line from that program to GNC. And our summer intern program, this is year 2. It's all on site. And we had 35 interns, and they were all here in Pittsburgh, and they had a good time, as you can see from their photos. But we've also been able to retain them and hire them. So that's another segment of the population that we're working through to make sure they know they belong at GNC. The final piece I want to share with you is the part that is the hardest to do, health equity. But what we did is in our Feel Well, we were able to get vouchers to make sure that our corporate and distribution centers, people are in close contact with each other, could get all of their boosters at the expense of GNC. We were able to hold our rates from 22 to 23, so we did not increase. We subsidized, and we didn't have to increase pricing. And this year, because of the extreme cost of health care in America, we had to go up a little bit. But what we did is we tiered it out so that our frontline people could get the same healthcare coverage and not have to pay more. We did a maternity leave policy that was for everybody in the organization full-time, and that had previously excluded our frontline managers. Paid parental leave, active and fit gym memberships for everybody. And the last piece that I think is really important is we just launched GNC Health to our members at no cost. And that is a new service that GNC provides. And it really allows all of our part-time and full-time employees a membership in our health program where they're getting virtual doctors appointments at zero cost. There's 400 medications that they transfer over that zero cost. And they also have access to mental health and counseling services. And that's a really big one for us because traditional health benefits don't typically cover your part-time employees. So we really have worked to ensure that we're taking care of the mind, the body, and the soul, and career pathing and education. So there was a lot that we had to work through to get into this. But if I leave you with 3 thoughts, the first thought is you need to have the right support and creativity on your team to make all these things possible. So that was the people structure. You need to talk to the business to find out what's important to them. And that was also important for us. And the final thing is you have to have a nice simplified story, an accessible way for people to understand and think through what you're providing to the teams. And that was a pretty quick 25 minutes to go through what we're doing at GNC. And I know we have some time to take questions. And I did see one question that popped up here that was, how do you leverage your HR business partners to support leaders in creating a culture of belonging? So it's not just the HR business partners, but it's also all the talent team, the benefits team. And so the one thing I have two rules, right? 2 rules that I want on my team. And the first rule is we all support each other and we bring each other in and we bring in the right people at the right time. And we never finger point or blame somebody if something's not going right. So cardinal rule 1, that COE and service delivery model, everybody's equal and we all work together as a team. Number 2, if a problem comes to you or an issue comes to you, you own it. I've had some interesting issues that have come to me, and it really is, if it comes to my desk, if it comes to my teams, if it comes to me, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to work with the employees that come to me. So everybody on my team, they own whatever it is that comes to them. Our business partners, we work weekly. We work together weekly, and we have total rewards calls, and they are out there and they are supporting all of our programs, have access to these programs, and they are always in the field making sure that our employees are getting to the right people, are getting the right answers. So one team, one goal, and we are all equals. And hopefully that helps with that question. Now let me see. Oh, what do companies make the biggest mistakes when designing a wellness program? Well, I can't speak to all companies, but I can tell you that the companies with which I've been associated is when we design, we're not designing with the frontline worker in mind. And I told you we did that at GNC as well. We weren't designing with our store managers or our district managers or our full-time associates. And you can't always, you don't have the money. It's not an endless money. But when we thought through what could we do that would resonate with all our employees, we really tried to be inclusive of the frontline, talk to them. And that's where the tuition reimbursement, the college program degree attainment, because we're retail, that's where active and fit, the gym membership for all, and that's where the GNC Health came into play. Because if I could provide at least some type of healthcare for our employees, this is good as a supplemental so that at least they were taking care of themselves. What do I see as making the biggest impact on well-being and morale? You know, I will tell you, and it sounds really crazy, but one of the things that we did with the structure, and this is really in the career pathing and career development. So we're talking about all these other great wellness programs, but the one thing that I have found is made the best is when you can provide opportunities for store managers that they can become something different if they're not going up and down the rung to become a district manager. So when we redesigned and redefined how we wanted to do talent acquisition, we mindfully said we're going to take store managers that cannot or do not want to be district managers and move them into talent acquisition. And so we made that change, and that showed hope to our employees that you can also move from frontline positions to corporate positions, and you don't literally have to move. So our former store managers are all in the areas that they work, and we've taught them something new that they can do, and it's also increased their income. So I think if you can find ways to recognize and appreciate people that usually aren't being seen, that is the biggest morale changer you could do. Technologies that I feel are game changers for wellness management. I will tell you that, you know, I just think you guys look into it. We launched it about a month ago, GNC Health, all web-based, very, very inexpensive, huge ROI for us, but a way for us to offer it to all our employees, and it's all via mobile device. So I think that as you're looking through things you can do for your employees, look at the different technologies that are out there. And GNC Health is one of the biggest things for us, for our employees. It's also a part of our GNC Pro membership. It's bundled in there. But to find ways that you can reach all your employees and give them something they might not get if they weren't at, you know, at your company, and make it easy for them to access and confidential, I think that's game changing in wellness. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to me. And I'm going to toss it back over to Vicki Lynn, and she's going to continue on with your program.
Oh, thank you so much, Elisa, for that excellent keynote. So many great practical ideas. Audience, you can get a copy of the PDF version of the slides, so please do feel free to ask for those. And there's lots of great reference material for you. I want to thank everyone for joining us for this session, and this session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event.